Okay, you guys, I've had some of you have a hard time finding the Forgotten Ones vlog. I am going to put the link to it in the description. Keep in mind that this has a lot of Civil War history. And if you're squeamish about that, please just keep scrolling. Don't even watch it. Just FYI. It's called Honor and Respect. My ancestors fought in that war. Many people around here did back then. It was fought on Cloyds Mountain, Cloyds. I'm also going to put a link to it from Wikipedia in the bottom, which is, their information is pretty much spot on. The battle at Cloyds Mountain was the shortest, bloodiest, with the most lives lost in the Civil War period. Every year there's a reenactment over there on Cloyds Mountain. And very interesting, if anybody lives around here and you want to go, let me know. It's just amazing what these people do. We are friends with some of the women that participate. And I don't know if y'all know it or not, a lot of women actually made themselves look like men to fight. So it wasn't just men, it was women also. And one of the girls or ladies that we're good friends with, she dresses herself up like a guy. And she looks just like one of the ways she dresses herself up. And she fought in the war. So it is some really interesting history. And I absolutely love it because those are the people that we need to honor and respect too. Regardless of your views on it, they served and gave their lives also. And some of them around here were even forced to do it. There is, if any of you, like, or me, love the spirit side of things, we kind of know that there is. Call it what you want, but I lived with a cemetery behind my house for 47 years. The way that I was pointing to the cemetery in a previous vlog, it's flush with our property line. So you couldn't see my finger was pointing over here, but it was actually over here. I'll get in there tomorrow and get a small vlog of it. But when we walked through the cemetery on Cloyds Mountain, there's also a monument over there on the other side of Cloyds Mountain that is a monument or a memorial for the men and women that lost their lives in the Civil War. At the cemetery, there's a triangular fence around the monument or grave marker that is in honor of the Cloyd man that fought. I think he was a sergeant. I don't think he got killed. I think he died years later, if I'm thinking right. Don't quote me. You'll have to read down. I'm trying to go back from my memory, and it just sucks ass, let me tell you. Thanks, concussions. You suck too. That is a very, very active cemetery. And again, it has spirits in it. And right when we got there, as soon as we got out of the vehicle and started walking, you could just sense there was something about that cemetery. And I have several of my ancestors that's buried in it. And as soon as we start walking through it, there's orbs, like automatically. And those of you that know what I'm talking about, you'll know what they look like. I thought at first, because we have the Sony camera that has the camera or the monitor on the back of it, so you can see what you're doing. And I looked at that and I was like, I better get that off the lens so we can get a better view. There wasn't anything on the lens. Nothing. And I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. There's orbs all over this place. And I was just so excited walking through that cemetery. I mean, these are very, very active orbs. And when we got there, it started to just rain a few drops. There was clouds in the sky, but nothing that would constitute rain per se. But the sun was shining, and it looked like it was drops of gold, is what it looked like. It was an incredible day. And I was so glad that we got to capture that on camera. A couple things I do want to say. You'll come to one grave marker, and the man's last name is Horton, Horton. I'm pretty sure he's buried at the American War Cemetery in Germany. It's right on the front of it, but this concussion has really made me not worth anything, honestly. I'm just a pile of shit. But name is Gilbert Horton, and his headstone is flush with the ground. That is my grandfather. To the left of it is Etta, Etta Horton. That was his ex-wife. Oh no, she died giving birth. That's what happened. She died giving birth. Yeah, that's right. And I'm trying to work off my memory, you guys, and I haven't known this stuff for 3 years. And then beside of it is Clarence Gilbert Horton. And it's some pretty interesting about that. And he died from gangrene. And what happened was, I thought he was killed in the war, but he wasn't. What happened was, he got shot in the shoulder. It was here at the top of his lung. And he coughed and coughed and coughed for years. And he actually coughed up a piece of fabric that went into his lung from his uniform. And it was just so cool. And my uncle Jack used to tell me about all of our history and genealogy all the time. And so I'm trying to go off the memory of what he has said. He passed away on Christmas Day of last year. And so his wife, my Aunt Brenda, she has the piece of fabric that Clarence coughed out of his lung. And there is a grave, and I want to know if anybody points it out. 10 points to whoever points it out, put it that way. We are descendants, my bloodline is descendants of the Hatfields. And there's one grave, we'll see if anybody notices it. 10 points to whoever does. She is, let me get it right. I'll just wait, because I don't want to say it, because the things that's been said about what started the Hatfield-McCoy feud, no, far from it, let me tell you. History says otherwise, and I have the proof to back me up. And it's really interesting to learn about stuff like that. And I sat there and read my genealogy book, and I was like, how cool is this? You know, people have sat down and wrote down this stuff from the 1700s of who people was, where they're living, how they're living. And I think, why don't people take this stuff and make books out of it? Especially from my side of the family, because we have really a good bloodline. Getting off that, moving on. There was a memorial ceremony in Parisburg, Virginia. Parisburg. We actually were asked to be the photographer for the Tapley Mays ceremony and dedication of a memorial. And let me tell you this, and my husband will tell you, and the people that were standing around, and Cooter off of Dukes of Hazzard was there. We actually got to talk to him for about 30 minutes before anything would happen. Very interesting man, I have to say. And just to stand there and hug him and squeeze him, he was just a big old teddy bear. So what they did is they had the memorial covered up, and they had some of the reenactment guys to make a circle around it. And they were going in sync and firing off their I can't think the name of it. Not muzzleloader. Tell me. I'm stupid. I'm ignorant. Tell me in the bottom. I don't care. But they started going around in a circle. And there was a bunch of people there that day. And I kid you not, I've never seen so many people come together knowing this history and knowing that their bloodlines was connected to this war. But it's amazing. And the information that people was swapping back and forth. And the women were wearing, some of them were wearing dresses, actual dresses from that was passed down. And so when they started going around and firing off their guns, it was a very, very, very eerie feeling. It's like you actually could feel the descendants, their presence. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it would literally make the hair on your neck stand up. And my husband said the same thing. And he's not the type of person to say that stuff. But that is one time that really, really freaked him out. Because he was like, did you feel the hair on your neck stand up? I said, yeah, I did. And he said, you know, we weren't alone out there. And I said, no, there was a lot more people there than what we think. Because Pearisburg and Cloyds Mountain is right together. And like I said, I want to put links in the bottom so you guys can read up on it. But it's a very, very, very heavily Civil War hotspot right in that area, Cloyds Mountain. Massive. And so they actually had a cannon there, and they fired it off 3 times. And the Tapley Mays had no descendants to, oh shoot, I can't remember what it was called. So they had the museum over there, and they dedicated all of his, I can't remember what it was. You'll have to forgive me, people. I am just one stupid person for having a concussion because I can't remember anything anymore. So they took all his stuff and put it in the museum there in Pearisburg. And they too have a lot of information. And going back to the orb and weird stuff, one of my best friends that lived next door to me, which she passed away November last year. God rest her soul in. I miss you. She had bought a uniform from a man and a dress from a woman from back at the Civil War. First off, I was like, why in the heck would people be doing away with this stuff, knowing the history? So I went up there and was talking to her, and she said, you know, she said, we got this uniform and dress at an auction. And she said she had it hanging behind her. And she said, I kid you not, she said, whatever spirits was with that clothing, whoever wore it, is still in it. And I shit you not, people, she was never the type of person either to say anything like that. But when she told me about it, you could really tell that something was up with that cloak, because I was sitting there beside of her, and so we were like, I was facing this way, she was facing that way. I was facing the clothing, and I looked at it and I was like, is that it? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, why don't you put it on eBay? She said, I can't. I said, well, why not? She said, I can't look at it. I said, why? And she said, I'm afraid that it'll get into my soul. And it was after that she started telling me about weird stuff that would happen in their house, like bowls falling on the floor, plates being knocked off, just weird stuff moving on its own. And like I say, I do believe this stuff. I've had it happen to myself. I mean, from the cemetery alone, and I don't know how to explain it, you guys. Until you've actually had it to happen to you, you have no idea how it feels. You don't. But, oh gosh, I love the feeling of having spirits. And it's like, you know what it is. I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's just so unbelievably cool. I'm excited to go to these other cemeteries that I found online. My great grandfather, I think, or great grandfather, he served, and his grave is on, I think it's findagrave.com. I believe that's the website. Anyway, he's buried on what we call Snake Creek. And, of course, a lot of these little towns around here have the weirdest names. And we have them for very, very specific reasons. But he, too, served in the Civil War. I think he did survive. I don't think he was killed in it. But I just want people to honor and respect our history. It doesn't matter what your views is. Those men and women gave their lives. Regardless of what anyone says, I do not care. Those men and women should be honored just like the men and women today. They fought, they gave their life. And it wasn't just men, it was women too. And you know, people were actually hanged or hung because they didn't want to serve. People were actually choked to death because of it. But so I'm going to end this here. I just wanted to post the link, and I know I went on my little rant, but I was just so excited to look at that video again, and I would see them orbs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're still with us. They are still there. That cemetery is so active, you guys. Unbelievably active. You just have to go watch it to see. And there is one orb, love his heart, that follows Daryl around. And there's one part where we're walking up a hill and I'm behind him, and you can see the orb like staying right at his legs. And I hollered him, I was like, hey, you got a buddy? And he's like, oh well. So I know we didn't come home, we didn't bring one home, but if we did, it's cool as shit. You guys, sit beside of me, let's tell some stories. Tell me your history. I mean, I don't know, it's fun. I mean, I grew up with a cemetery in my backyard. And just, I hate to say it. And y'all are going to say, oh, shame on you. I don't care. But as kids, we were having fun. There's 2 rows of headstones that are all the same. So you can go up one row and then back down. Oh, God, you guys. Me and my friend Lisa, we used to get up on the tops of the headstones, and we run down one line and come back up the other. My mom would catch us, and she lit our asses up, let me tell you. More than once. I get the fly swatter, the newspaper, the belt, the switch, whatever she could get her hands on, a shoe. She beat my ass more than once, probably more than 30, 40, 50 times. And I just, now that I look back on it, I was like, why in the world did I do that shit? It's stupid of me. We were just kids, though. But, again, I'm going to end this here. I just get so excited when I find this stuff out. And, yes, that website is findagrave.com. And you could go in there and you can put in the name. And it's actually, some of it has actual photos. And when I started tracing my genealogy back to the Hatfields, you keep going back and back. There's a way you can keep going back and back, and it actually gives the birth dates, the death dates, the children, mothers, fathers. It is very, very interesting. It also has a part where it shows the headstones and the name of the cemetery that they're in, and the name of the cemetery and what road it's on. And that's how we found my great-grandfather. He's buried on Snake Creek. So, let me know what you think about orbs and cemeteries. I think they're cool. I mean, I'll go sleep in a cemetery. I mean, it's that cool. I know some people are squeamish about it. I'm like, why? Why are you so squeamish about it? Come on, lighten up. It's fun. You live one life. Live it on the edge. I mean, who doesn't? Have fun with it. I mean, I like doing stuff to live on the edge because it gives you a rush. It's adrenaline, but it's fun. When you let your hair down and have fun, you guys, then you can say that you're actually living fun and living a life. Life is too short. I've cheated death. I've cheated going blind for the rest of my life. And I would be damned if I live it wasted anymore. You guys have no idea how it feels to be laid up in a hospital and lose your vision within an hour. It is scary shit, let me tell you. And that's the reason why I take notice to the smallest thing with people. Even when they have dark circles around their eyes, and you know who you are, you can't hide. Even just spots. I mean, it's just weird how my eyes pick up on stuff now. I take notice of things very, very, in very detail. But I like to look at a person's eyes, in their eyes, to see the color. Because the eyes are the pathway to their soul. So if I ever meet you and I stare at your eyes, it's because I like to see the color and I like to see the windows to your soul. So don't be creeped out, because some of you we're going to meet probably within the end of the year. So it's going to be fun. So if I tell you, hey, let's go walk through the cemetery at midnight without a moon or a full moon, let's go. Let's go lay on the ground with no sheet, no nothing. And just lay there. That's cool. Very cool. Stop being squeamish. Live life. Good. Live it on the edge. I mean, just like Aerosmith says, living on the edge. Try it. Try it one time. You'll thank me later. And my weight loss is stalled. So do I go back to being fat? Or do I continue to lose and have a bunch of flapping fat? Okay. Right now, I would set a pair of corduroy pants on fire, let me tell you. And that is no shit. You just one step and they're on fire. So I want everybody to have a good day today. It's Friday. Think about what I've said about living life on the edge. You got to get your rush. You got to get your adrenaline. If you don't know what you're missing out on. And as one of my favorite sayings is, if you do the things you don't want to do, it's going to make you a better person. So remember that. If you do the things you don't want to do, it's going to make you a better person. Tell yourself that each day, and I promise you, you're going to live a much better life. Thank y'all for watching. Links in the bottom. Yeah, I'm shaking. Who cares? Have fun with it. Have fun with the orbs. Tell me what you think. But the lens on the camera, there was nothing on it. Orb City. I crave that stuff, you guys. Thank y'all for watching, and have a good Friday and a great weekend.